Smithfield Foods is finally getting what they deserve. They destroyed entire communities for profit. This is where powerful corporations finally pay for what they've done. A new case every week. Imagine living in your home for 30 years, the same home where you raised your children, where you spent summers on the porch, where you planned to grow old. And then one day, your neighbor builds an industrial hog farm, thousands of pigs, packed into buildings just down the road. And suddenly, your life becomes unbearable. The smell hits you before you even open the door. Not just any smell. A smell that one former police officer described as worse than decomposing bodies he had encountered during his entire career in law enforcement. Clouds of flies cover your windows. Trucks rumble past your home in the middle of the night. You can't sit outside. You can't open your windows. You can't invite friends over. Your property is worthless. And the company responsible? They knew. They had known for decades, and they did nothing. This is the story of Smithfield Foods, the world's largest pork producer, and how ordinary families in North Carolina finally made them pay. Smithfield Foods was founded in 1936 in Smithfield, Virginia. For decades, it was a regional meat company. Then, in 2013, it was purchased by a Chinese conglomerate called WH Group for $7.1 billion. Overnight, Smithfield became part of one of the most powerful food companies on the planet. Today, Smithfield processes roughly 30 million hogs per year. It operates farms across the United States, with the highest concentration in North Carolina. At its peak, North Carolina had over 9 million hogs, more hogs than people. And those hogs produced an almost incomprehensible amount of waste. Here's how Smithfield's waste system works. The hog waste, millions of gallons of it, flows into massive open-air pits called lagoons. These lagoons sit in the open air, in the sun, in the heat, in the rain. The liquefied waste is then sprayed onto surrounding farm fields as fertilizer. This system has been used in North Carolina for decades. It is cheap. It is efficient, and it is devastating for anyone who lives nearby. The smell from these lagoons has been described as one of the most nauseating odors imaginable. Scientists have documented elevated levels of hydrogen sulfide, ammonia, and other toxic gases around these facilities. Studies have linked living near industrial hog farms to increased rates of infant mortality, low birth weight, hospital admissions, and respiratory problems. And Smithfield knew. Their own internal documents showed awareness of the problems these lagoons caused for neighboring communities. But changing the system would cost money, so they didn't change it. If you made it this far, you already know this channel is for you. Hit subscribe so you never miss a story. But here's where it gets truly disturbing. Because when neighbors started complaining, Smithfield didn't apologize. They didn't offer to fix the problem. They fought back. For years, the neighbors of Smithfield's North Carolina operations had complained to local authorities. They filed complaints. They attended meetings. They begged for help. Nothing changed. So they went to court. And what happened next shocked the entire agriculture industry. In April 2018, a federal jury awarded 10 neighbors of a Smithfield hog farm more than $50 million in damages. The jury found that Smithfield had created an unreasonable nuisance and that they had done so knowingly. Smithfield called the verdict unfair. They appealed. They lost. In August 2018, another jury awarded 6 more neighbors $473.5 million. The jury awarded $23.5 million in compensatory damages and $450 million in punitive damages, specifically to punish Smithfield for its behavior. A state law capped the final amount, but the message from the jury was unmistakable. What Smithfield had done to these communities was not just negligent, it was deliberate, and it deserved punishment, and the verdicts kept coming. Jury after jury after jury found Smithfield responsible. 5 separate juries, 5 separate verdicts, over $550 million in total penalties awarded, before state law caps reduced the amounts. One neighbor who testified described what it was like to live next to the farm. He said the smell was so bad, it prevented him from going outside. That flies covered every surface of his home, that he had lived there his entire life, and now he couldn't enjoy a single day outdoors. Smithfield's response? This verdict is unfair and unjust. But here's what makes this story even more outrageous. After the verdicts, North Carolina politicians didn't demand that Smithfield clean up its operations. They changed the law. New legislation was passed that all but eliminated the ability of neighbors to sue Smithfield Foods or any other agribusiness for nuisance. The very legal mechanism that had finally given these communities justice was taken away. Critics called it a direct gift to the pork industry, a way to protect Smithfield from future accountability. And Smithfield, which had been found responsible by 5 separate juries, walked away largely protected. But the story doesn't end there. Because while Smithfield was fighting neighbors in North Carolina, they were also facing questions about how they treated their workers. During COVID-19, Smithfield's plant in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, became one of the largest known coronavirus clusters in the entire United States. Workers were packed together on processing lines. Hundreds tested positive. 4 workers died, and Smithfield kept the plant open. They had been warned. They had been given time to act. They chose production over people. The plant was eventually forced to close, but only after the damage had been done. Smithfield Foods built a $15 billion empire on cheap meat and cheaper excuses. They poisoned the air of entire communities. They ignored the health of their workers. They fought their neighbors in court for years, and when they finally lost, they helped change the law so it couldn't happen again. 5 juries said they were wrong. 5 juries said their neighbors deserved justice. And Smithfield responded by making sure no future neighbors could ever do the same. Smithfield Foods is finally getting what they deserve. But for the families in North Carolina who can still smell the lagoons every morning, it came too late. If this video made you angry, good. That anger means you're paying attention. Hit the like button. Leave a comment. Share this with one person who eats meat and has no idea where it comes from. It costs you nothing. But for a small channel like ours, every single interaction tells YouTube this story matters and helps us reach the people who need to hear it. We don't have a massive budget. We don't have a team of hundreds. What we have is you. And next week, we're covering a company that did something even more outrageous than this. Hit subscribe and turn on the bell, because you do not want to miss that one.